and nerdettes, what's going on? It is Rick here again with a real quick turnaround here. You guys requested, you wanted to see a review for the Crash Bandicoot action figure, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it. Obviously, I have no self-control or willpower. I'm very impulsive, and I tend to just crack open my figures before, showing you guys the packaging and all that stuff. So I did actually manage to snap some pictures of this guy in packaging. So here he is real quick, front, back, nothing really on the sides, and just a little bio here at the bottom. But you guys aren't here for the packaging. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the figure here. First of all, let me just say that I wish I still had my Resource action figures. I had the entire Crash Bandicoot line of Resource action figures back around, 98, 99 they came out. So I could do a size comparison. Let's just say they're about yay tall in comparison to this guy here. From what I can remember, they were a little smaller than this. Definitely not quite as big as this guy. And definitely nowhere near as detailed. I cannot stress how much NECA has knocked this guy out of the park. Crash Bandicoot was my go-to video game back during the PlayStation 1 days. I loved the Resource line. I used to pester my mother, actually. I would pester my mom around Christmas time in 98. I would leave, there was a little advertisement that came in a Toy Fair magazine. I would leave it on her pillow every single night to kind of like hint, nudge, nudge that I really wanted the Crash Bandicoot action figures. And I got them that Christmas. And yeah, just wonderful memories. And it's so awesome that he's making a comeback. And that NECA, one of my favorite companies, is making the action figure. So before we go ahead and get into the rest of this with the sculpt and all that, let's go ahead and cover articulation. Now this guy has a pretty good range of motion and movement, but there are some things that are hindered. So no articulation in the ears, no articulation in the mouth or anything like that. But he does have, it's supposed to be on a ball joint here on the head, but not a lot of movement due to the nature of the sculpt. I appreciate the effort that NECA did, trying to give him a range of motion, but even going side to side, he kind of bumps into the shoulders here, so he doesn't really have too much of a range of motion with the neck. He does have ball jointed shoulders. He's got the swivel hinged elbows. That again, not really too far because of the nature of the sculpt. He's got a hinge, swivel hinge here in the wrist. Goes down like so, goes up like so. There we go, a little bit further there for you. Again, that's on both sides here. He's got a mid-range ball joint here. Get my freaking meaty fingers out of the way so you can see. Again, a pretty good range of motion. There is no swivel here in the hip. At least I haven't been able to break it loose. So it doesn't look like there's any articulation in the hip. There is a ball joint here in the hips. And I was warned not to move the guy around too much in the knees by a viewer. So it's about as far as it goes here that I can get it. In the knees, there is a swivel. It's a swivel hinge in the knees. There is a swivel down here at the ankle inside the shoe, but he's kind of stuck and I can't get it moving. And then ball jointed ankles. So, pretty good range of motion for a character that really, with the Resource toy line, he had shoulders and T-crotch legs. So, oh, you know what? And the most important, the most important range of motion, the eyebrows. That's right, he's got articulated eyebrows. So he goes, we can get those here. He goes down like so. They can go, oh no, I busted it off. It's not broken, it's just a ball joint. They're ball jointed eyebrows. Anyways, so they go down like so. They can go up like so. Yeah, I can get them like that, pretty much to about right there because the hair kind of blocks it. But again, I really appreciate the effort to give him articulated eyebrows. That's pretty awesome, and that was one of the selling features that NECA was, talking about around Toy Fair. Oh, and now he doesn't want to stand up. Oh, I think I loosened the joints a little too much by moving him around. Okay, there we go. He's good. All right, so as you can see, this guy has got a lot of texture in the fur. They could have gone the simple route, the way that Resource did, and they could have just gone with a smooth sculpt. But that guy wasn't... Even for the time when PlayStation, first came out and they first released Crash Bandicoot, the Resource figure was like bright red and had spots down the back. Well, Crash Bandicoot didn't really look like that back then. He was intended to look more like this. So when the remastered came out, I really appreciate, again, what NECA is doing to make it look more like the Insane Trilogy. So again, you got the textured fur, a lot of color variation. I don't recall the yellowish streak down the back in the game. It's been a minute since I played the remastered here. I do have it, but I haven't played it since it first released. But I don't recall him having like quite such a prominent yellow streak down his back. But again, I keep going back to this. I appreciate the just instead of just making them one solid color, that they kind of went with some washes and some variations. Kind of a fading into certain colors. I really, really enjoy it. But, I mean, just nice, clean paints, just all around the eyes. I got a little bit of, like, a black speck here in the one eye, but it's not horribly noticeable. A nice gloss finish to the eyes to make them shiny. Just clean paint applications all around. I really feel like I'm holding an updated Resource version here. If I could get him to... I think I may have loosened the joints up a little too much. Plus, it's hot right now, so... You know how plastic behaves in the heat. But, yeah, just, the leather stitching here on the gloves looks great. The texture of the tennis shoes looks fantastic. Again, the color here on the belly even is a different color than the streak on the back. I love the sculpting in the hair, just looks fantastic. I can't praise this guy enough. And he does come with one accessory. Now, this is actually in the slip-on in the back, the little backdrop that comes in the figure. It's actually folded and slipped in between there, so you might accidentally throw away your packaging. Normally, don't do that because this guy is hidden. And it is a card-stocked crate. You kind of have to fold it into itself. I kind of bent it already because I was getting Crash to stand on it. It's pretty strong. You can get Crash to stand on it, but I would not keep him up there because it will eventually give. But we're actually supposed to be getting a plastic version with the jet pack or the jet board Crash. So, I'm going to keep this extra one, just kind of like as a background piece. But there is going to be a more solid crate coming later on down the line. But anyways, yeah, I can't sing the praises of this guy enough. And I did mention it earlier. This guy is a lot bigger than I was anticipating. Especially with the Resource figures being a little bit smaller. If NECA, if his line does well and they end up moving on to characters like Tiny or Koala Kong, I'm really curious how tall this guy's going to be. He stands probably about, I would say about 5.5 inches, 6 inches. He's really big. I've got big hands. I don't have any figures readily available to kind of do a size comparison. And again, if I had the Resource figures, I would do a size comparison with those. But here, we've got this. Here's a normal apple barrel paint. Look how tall this guy is. This is actually about the size of the Resource figures, maybe a little bit taller back in the day. But yeah, it's a big boy, and I really can't wait to see. I know that they're probably going to be working on a Dr. Neo Cortex. Randy did mention that on Twitter at some point. But I love this line. If you're a PlayStation fan like me, you're a fan of the original Crash Bandicoot, you owe it to yourself to get this figure. It's incredible. It's a beautiful figure. It is so well done. I cannot highly recommend it enough So go ahead and pick this up, you guys. It is, again, at, I mentioned earlier, it is at the Amazon and the eBay stores for NECA. You know, it's 100% worth it. The sculpting, the paints, everything about it, the nostalgia factor. Grab this guy. All right, guys, so that's all I've got right now for you. Sorry for the late night review. Sorry it's so haphazard because I just was putting this together real quick because y'all requested it. But here it is, you guys. There's a look at the NECA Crash Bandicoot action figure. So worth it. I'm in love. I'm going to go put this up on my shelf right now, and I'm going to go clear some space because I want the jetpack. I want the jet board, I want Dr. Neil Cortex, I want Tiny, I want Coco, I want an entire list of characters. And from what I understand, NECA has plans to go the distance with this line. So we're in for a treat. But that's all I got for you right now as far as this review. We'll talk to you guys later. Y'all have a good one. As always, like, follow, subscribe. Take care, you guys.